get started. That way people can kind of meander in.
Sweet. Okay. Welcome to the Digital Transformation Room. I'm Sam Perrell, the moderator, and I'm happy to introduce Ashley Owens. Ashley Owens is a trailblazing network concierge and president of Personal Injury Mastermind Conference, offering individuals, businesses effective networking strategies. With a background in personal assistance and business analytics, Ashley runs a thriving enterprise. Her accomplishments have propelled her into roles as a speaker, coach, and trainer, focusing on personal branding and revenue generation through purposeful networking. An inspirational figure for personal growth, Ashley is the go-to resource for enhancing personal brands, expanding networks, and learning from a seasoned expert. So please welcome Ashley Owens.
Thank you. The bio always gets changed depending on how fancy I feel, so ChatGPT definitely wrote that one. But again, thank you all very much for being here. Again, my name is Ashley Owens. I'm a networking concierge, which just means the fancy name for networking so you don't have to. My entire job is I go to events on behalf of my clients and with them to network on their behalf. So, funny enough, I ended up working and getting hired by a company called Rankings.io, and they are an SEO company for personal injury attorneys in all areas of law. So I'm scooting around with lawyers all the time networking on behalf of this SEO company. So this is a great opportunity to kind of learn about different ways to network and then also figure out ways for yourself to network effectively. I'm going to close this door because I made a wrong choice. Great. So we're going to talk about, again, the power of networking, but really the tactical and tangible because, everything's all high level and I don't want you to have to Google this if you don't have to. So there's some fun facts because let's get to know each other a little bit because I know I kind of speed around and talk to you all. But some fun facts about me is I'm originally from North Jersey, which just means I talk real fast. And I have an Italian mother that I don't talk to. So we have fast talker. We also have the best bagels. Mo gave me a good bagel company. Mo, what was that good bagel place in Dallas? Should? Anybody else have a good bagel place in Texas? God forbid I find one. It is so hard to find a good schmear somewhere. Next, I used to be a personal celebrity assistant, which means I just have a lot of therapy bills. I worked for a couple people. I worked for Tony Bennett and Mary Louise Parker. And I'm pretty sure I signed something somewhere. I have no idea what an NDA is, so ask anything you want. Next, I've competed in CrossFit competitions. Not anymore, but I used to. I used to be able to deadlift 225 pounds. I came in 31st place out of 34, which just means I survived the competition. And I'm karaoke champ 2016 and 2021. Thank you, because I outlasted all of the drunk people. Next, I've been in 12 movies as an extra. So I used to work in film and television. I used to work for a casting assistant, or work as a casting assistant. They couldn't pay me, so I got a chance to go on movie sets. Basically, the coolest thing I learned out of that is how to sleep anywhere. Flat surface, out. I'm good. It's called micro napping. It's great. And then last, I once ate a Carolina Reaper. Does anybody know what a Carolina Reaper is? Yeah, I want to do that choice.
It hurts worse than milk.
Oh yeah, it's the worst. Yep. So thank you for bringing it up. But yes,
PTSD.
yeah, it does. 100%. So the Carolina Reaper is one of the hottest peppers in the world. It was a dare. I don't like talking about it, but I do think it's funny. Life decision. I just got. All right, cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, let's get into the tactical and tangible. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much sleep networking sucks? Let me tell you, I don't like people so much. I made it my job. Go ahead.
It's easier for extroverts.
It is. Okay, tell me why.
Because I'm an extrovert.
All right, then, Chad. Tell me more. Tell me more about why it's easier for extroverts.
I think unless you're a big smiley introvert, you're traditionally not as approachable, whereas extroverts just approach everybody, that kind of attitude. I guess it's more about being comfortable walking up to strange situations with people and breaking the ice, ICRs, all those kinds of things. I think that's a big part of it. Actively giving. I think introverts are giving people. They just don't exude to be actively
That's
giving.
the first thing they do when they have a conversation. Gotcha. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
I would say it's more so extroverts generally gain energy from social interactions. Introverts gain energy from essentially resting from social interactions. Like I'm an introvert myself, but that doesn't necessarily mean like I'm socially awkward or I don't try to reach out or speak to people.
1,000%. You hit it on the head is the energy displacement. So Extroverts typically will get more energy in crowds. Introverts typically lose it. Yes. What's your name? I didn't get you before. I'm sorry. Talking directly to you, sir. What's your name?
My name's Dan.
Hi, Dan.
I think a lot of times networking has a context, and some people do very well in one context and then don't do well in another. Usually it's based off of comfort level. Like me, I'm deaf in my left ear. So if there's loud music playing, everything like that, I want to talk to one person the whole night where I'm not going to contact with 100 people. Where back before I was deaf in one ear, I just, contacted everybody. But I've also noticed that some people may do really well in a wedding situation, but not do very well in another situation that they're unfamiliar with.
So it's familiarity and comfort, right? So if you know people that are there, it's a lot easier to kind of get warmed up, kind of, get comfortable in that space. So a wedding would be more applicable rather than going to a networking event chamber and knowing nobody and having to start random conversations with nothing in common that you know of yet. So for you, are you more of an introvert or an extrovert?
Somebody referred to me as a megavert back when I was in my 20s because I was very extroverted. But then again, I lost my hearing, and that made me a lot more careful about talking in certain situations.
So a megavert, you mean like one
Very
extraordinary
extroverted,
extrovert.
because I just would meet people. So I think some people would still say that about me, but I struggle in certain situations, and I'm just aware I can't hear it.
Gotcha.
Like even conversations around here, what other people are saying other than you, I'm struggling to hear.
Good. So I just need to be louder and more shrill.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that work out?
Everybody else just look my way and yells.
Did you have raise your hand?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you raised your hand. Sir, did you raise your hand? I saw something in the corner of my eye. It could be the demons in my brain. Who knows? Great, well, thank you all very much. So around a 1 to 10, is it more stressful for you? We talked about introversion and extroversion, which is great. So sometimes it all depends, I think, on where you are, location. Sometimes you're an introvert and extrovert, or an extrovert and introvert.
I think it also has a lot to do with what you're wanting to get out of the networking experience.
Goals, right?
That adds the pressure
Totally.
to it as well, which can make it more stressful.
Well, it also feels like networking a lot of times to people, they feel like it's a chore, that they have to do it, and it's a transactional thing. Networking isn't transactional. Networking is a marketing opportunity, not a sales activity. It's kind of like, you can have sales without networking, but you can't have networking without, you can have the other way around. You can have, you got it, okay. Let's finish this coffee that has coffee in it. All right, so here's the reality. Okay, let's kind of baseline the kind of networking people that you want in your life. So the biggest thing about this presentation is really getting to know you and setting the boundaries and the standards for who you keep in your circles. So first thing is, you've got to recognize that the people that you want to keep in your army is only people who genuinely care are going to talk to you and not at you like an Italian mother during Christmas time asking when you're going to have kids. Only people who genuinely care are going to help you anyway. They're going to want to do something for you in some form or fashion. Hey, I saw this article for you. Hey, I saw this job posting. Hey, I wanted to see you after the last event because you were so cool to hang out with. They are giving in some form or fashion. You know those people, you can pick out 5 on your phone right now. Only people who genuinely care are going to ask you through realistic favors. They're not going to ask you for $5,000 for a sponsorship for something that you've never heard of. They're not going to ask you, hey, can you give me a recommendation to this company, and you bet them one time. You know those takers. You know them and you know it in your gut. So before you even think about talking or think about engaging with somebody, if they don't hit these 3 criteria, on the nose, then they don't belong in your network, okay? This is the standard, this is the boundary that you have to hold because they can feel very transactional, because they can take all the energy out of you. So at the very foundation, start with this. So what is the maximum number of people we can maintain relationships with and have social interactions with? Number-wise.
150.
Oh, why do you cheat so fast? At least give them some chances. What were you thinking?
I was going to say some infinite number.
Infinite number?
Yeah, because I feel like people who generally care will also generally give you the respect of not taking up more time than they should.
That's a great point, right? So you want to be able to maintain, the only way we can actually do 150 is that people will come in and out of that,
Yeah.
right? But you can't maintain more than 150. So say Aunt Deborah said something stupid during Thanksgiving, she's out of there, right? So the point is you're able to put people in and out of these slots, but you logistically cannot maintain more than 150. So when you build your network, you don't want to exceed 150 people on your CRM list that are the people that you know, you like, and you trust, because it's actually impossible for you in your brain to be able to maintain those relationships. So let's say, for example, now this is throughout your entire life, right? It's not 100 people throughout your entire life. You can still say, hey, I know my kindergarten teacher, she was awesome, but she may be kicked out of the club until 6 months later, right? You see her at a coffee shop, right? But are you maintaining those relationships actively and proactively? So remember, what does that mean? Also, at 150, you don't have to talk to every single person if you don't want to. That means you have those boundaries. That means that's the foundation of who you want to speak with. And you can only put 150 people in those slots. So who do you put in those slots? So this is the qualities of a power networker. Has anybody ever heard somebody call themselves a power connector or a power networker? On LinkedIn, when they put it. No? If you ever hear somebody say, oh, I'm a power connector, I'm the one that people go to, run! It's like telling people that you're a subject matter expert in something. I'm not one time said I was messing me anything. I've got plenty to learn. I've put the hours in because of my age, right? So when you see somebody who proclaims that they're the best at whatever, look at their tech support, right? So take a look at the qualities of a power networker. This is just to give you an idea of somebody who you recognize, who is very well connected, who does give, who does provide service, who does provide a help to you in some way without asking anything back. Okay, these are the qualities. They're incredible, right? They know what they're doing. They produce the service that they offer, and they tell you, they do what they say they're going to do. Curiosity. They're asking questions about you. Okay? They don't even let you ask questions about them half the time. They're very much engaging, curious about your life, curious about your problems, curious about the relationships that you have, naturally curious because they want to truly and deeply get to know you. And then competency, right? They're confident. They're not going around and saying, oh, I'm going to make an introduction to this person, and then they completely fall off the edge of the earth, right? You know those flaky people. So the people that you see that you want to be around that are the center of influence that will truly want to help you, they have to have these three qualities: credibility, curiosity, and competency. And I'm pretty sure you know these people in your life that don't proclaim that they're a power networker. They probably don't even network, okay? They just have those qualities. All right, story time. Everybody knows who Paul Revere is, right? We did 11th grade history. Okay. Anybody know who William Dowd is? No? Okay, cool. Perfect. This makes my point. So, the story is Paul Revere, obviously, raised a militia. He rode through Boston in 1775. He rode north, and then he ended up starting the Revolutionary War with, his big speech. William Dowd did the exact same thing, except he went in a different direction. Direction doesn't matter. The problem is that the reason why history remembers Paul Revere is because Paul Revere was an information broker. He is somebody who can connect unrelated groups of people and to get to when he reached that small town. So the news then spread wildly and quickly because he knew what people to talk to. William Dowd fell into obscurity because he didn't know what people to talk to when he entered the town. So the moral of the story is when you're talking about yourself, your credentials, you're just talking about the things you like or just talking to another human being. If it doesn't go to the right people, you will fall into obscurity like William Dowd. So the kinds of people that you talk to have to have those boundaries. You have to have those boundaries, and you also have to have those three criteria for your information to get to the right people. This is in your business, this is in your skill set, this is in talking to your manager and all that. So these are the three, this is, a story that definitely supports that. All right, we'll do 3 steps. We're going to go through these pretty quickly so we can get you more tangible and tactical. Knowing yourself. When people network, they do all these things wrong. Who has met a networking person or somebody in a networking event? They handed you their card. They've done nothing except hi, how are you? How's it going? They hand you their card. Anybody have that experience? Yeah. How was it for you? You know all the words.
I mean,
Just say
well, for me, it was pretty much like, okay, well, I'm going to connect with cards, just closing. So then it kind of didn't trigger any more interest, either in part in kind of doing the same, but
like transactional, right?
Oh yeah, no, I have no for transactional ones. So
Ooh,
when
tell me
I first moved to Iowa, my coworker invited me to this networking event at the Cigar Lounge, which was a really good networking event overall.
Yeah.
And when I first get in there, I'm trying to shake people's hands and meet people and do all. There's one guy, I shake his hand, he hands me a business card and says, "Let me know when you're ready to buy a house." That's like all he said to me all evening.
I don't want to curse the live stream, but that's not what you effing do.
And I'm like, okay, I just got out of college, like I'm not buying a house right now.
Right, but it's just, the first impression is a big deal. People are people, right? I have students, so I teach at Temple University, and I have students where they get nervous about networking, and like, oh, I don't have anything of value. I'm like, you are of value. Your voice matters. Being curious is a huge component of that. That's half the battle. Get to know what they do, because you never know what position you might want to go into because you heard somebody talk about the story of what they do all day. You've never had an opportunity to make a good first impression. So be yourself. People brave about being authentic, but don't really know what the word means. They think they have to put a persona out there of what they believe is authentic, and sometimes looking into yourself and having the right mindset is the only way to actually be okay with being authentic. And that takes people a long time to understand, and also value. It took myself a long time. I was working 23 jobs after I graduated college. Never got fired. Mergers, acquisitions, and budget cuts, completely out of my control. I got to the point where I'm like, what do I have? I mean, I can do a lot of great things, but I just don't know how to put it all together. And so I realized, well, what if I just triple down on my strengths instead of trying to overcome every single weakness? And that's when I started the business, right? So when you think about the people that you want in your space, you want to be able to leverage what they know, who they know, but also their own personalities and their own information and resources that they might have. That's not transactional if you're naturally curious about the conversation you're having. So these are what people typically do wrong. They only network with the same people. We know these people. Sometimes it's nice when you're going into an environment you don't know, and to see certain people there, you know it's a good one, that's totally fine. But if you continuously see the same people, you're not diversifying your own experience and your own perspective on the world. Who has gone and done Zoom calls where they're like, we're going to go around the room. It's going to be 30 seconds. Did you read? Go ahead. Tell me the story.
So I just got out of I don't know if I call it an incubator program, I did that as well.
Mhm.
It was like, I guess, somewhere between incubator and accelerator.
Okay.
And it was just a state-funded course on how to learn the business better.
Yeah.
That was like the first meeting, it was like probably an hour of,
Just to go through everybody?
yeah,
Because they don't know what 30 seconds is, right? Nobody's counting?
yeah,
Oh,
no one did 30 seconds.
oh my
And
goodness.
some people just went through the whole spiel of everything they do, and why they do it, and why we should buy it. I'm like,
Does nobody have anxiety? Like, I feel like, millennials are like, I just want to get it out and be done with it. The 50-hour monologue means they don't network often and they've never been told that that's not an acceptable way of presenting yourself. Now, I'm a big fan of saying, I don't like the 30 seconds. I think when you script it, people know that you script it like that, right? But if you talk about and have enthusiasm with what you do, flare it up a little bit. Make it a bit more ambiguous, because then you're going to be like, oh, well, what does a networking concierge do? Well, I can't wait to tell you. I make your life easy by networking for you. Oh, well, I'll learn more about that. So you make it fun, for you, because you never call the time, you won't tell sometimes. Don't read their audience, meaning, people who do not read their audience. So if you don't know who you're talking to, or if you're making it weird, look at your girlfriend. She'll probably know and tell you it's going to be weird. Look at your guy friend who's there. Look at their faces. If it's weird, take a step away. They aren't present in the conversation, like not looking you in the eye, not shaking your hand, and then as soon as, let's say, this gentleman walks in, I'm talking to you, I go to that person, that's completely disrespectful. It is, because the point is, you're having a conversation with one person, they immediately know when they divert their attention, and they don't give value. You're a realtor guy. Here's my value in my card.
Mhm.
Run! Red flag. It's like dating. It's the worst. All right. So when we talk about, I'm going to go breeze through this pretty fast, but what is your goal on networking? These are some questions I want you to think about when you are thinking about networking. It's not just going in person. It's the activities surrounding it as well. So building engagement on your LinkedIn profile. Are you doing that? Are you staying in front of your current network with thoughtful content? Are you also doing that? These are just ideas. Are you building new professional friendships? They don't have to be transactional. Do you like the person you're hanging out with? Can you have a cup of coffee or a beer with, depending if you drink or not, and actually talk about life? Because sparking conversations can come from that. Go ahead.
so kind of put in a comment and
Sure.
follow the question. So
Sure.
the comment is, we're only like 3 years in business.
Yeah.
And
Oh, congratulations. When was your 3-year anniversary?
February. And the struggle we're having is just marketing and sales, kind of like the normal.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is, I've noticed, I don't think we sales guy. But I was able to close all the current clients we have just through free consultations through Facebook, really just understanding the issues and my quote unquote cost is, and this is what I did. And people seem much more receptive to that. My question is there a person, a sales guy, like an organization sales guy that does that? Like more relationship?
Yes. Right behind that thing. That's exactly what it means. So, Jared of Signature Style Media, they are the #1 video place that I use when I do presentations like this. Because Jared never sold me. I had an issue. I reached out to him like, I got an idea. I got some things that'll work out. And this guy put together an entire presentation that was completely dedicated to customizing it to me. As you can tell, I steamroll through conversations. I'm pretty intense sometimes, but very excited. He's the only one I've ever met so far in working in the media and this spot who knows how to manage that personality, reel it in a way that is the best thing for me. And I will sing their praises every day of the week, right? You got to know them first.
Right.
So when you think about the typical salesperson, it's usually the transactional piece. My 2 mentors did exactly what you do. I am not a good closer until I'm a good closer, right? Until you need to be a good closer. So I built an entire business off of networking because I'm Irish Catholic and that's for mine is stroking me out, right? But you can absolutely do that. And I've been very successful being able to say, here is the value that I have, here's the service that I offer, here's how I think I can help you. And it's all about being of service. When you think about people who are needing to close, normally it's already warmed up. You went for the hole. So there is a networking opportunity involved in that. Or, hey, we may not be a good fit, but let me introduce you to somebody who might be on this end, this end, and this end. Because I guarantee you, if they go to that person, and that person doesn't reciprocate the same common courtesy,
That's exactly what we do. It's like,
there it is.
we're a very niche thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that come to me like, oh, I'm in general marketing. We don't do that. I know a guy.
Yeah, and then depending on the relationship, you can also say, I may have to do a referral agreement. I typically don't, just because I just want to build that networking equity with them. But that is the #1 way you're building the know, the like, and the trust factor, which is so important when you're doing sales in any form of profession. So you're going about it the right way. It's going to be more of a marathon than a sprint, but you're going to get bigger deals because of it. Now, if you decide to look at different tactics, what I would suggest you do is look at the DISC assessment and see if you can start learning how to read people a little bit further along so you can get to the actual heat of the issue rather than guessing. So if you understand the EQ of most people, you'll be able to then have a conversation around how they make decisions. And once you know that, you can present it in a way that makes sense for them to make a decision, to create some form of urgency. So if you think about the DISC assessment, D is high dominant, I is influence, S is study, C is conscientiousness, right? I don't study DISC. I love it when I have a chance to look into it. There's a tool that I'll talk about at the very end that actually goes through all of the LinkedIn profiles and presents to you what it thinks it is, what that person might be EQ-wise. It'll also give you a way of how to pitch them, how to ask for a meeting and all those things based off of what they think that their EQ is. So using the tools to help you with that are also really great, but don't ever change what you're doing. Adjust, tighten, but don't ever change the methodology of what you're doing because it is the #1 way that I've seen the most successful people get there.
Yeah.
And then when you want to scale and you want a shark, then you get a shark, but they got to be with another shark, right? Cool. Awesome. All right, step 2, understanding your audience. You are building an army, okay? You're building an army of people that are going to advocate for you when you're in the room. I used to be a blonde, I was going through a thing, just ignore me. So the best part about building an army is like, who do you want as your soldiers? Who do you want as your lieutenant? Who do you want as your general, right? So when you think about the 150 people, you're building an army. But they can only fight for you if you fought for them tenfold, if you've earned that respect. So as long as you think about people in your life that can help you and support you, just like you would go 1,000 degrees more to help them and support them, you'll never fail. They won't let you fail. That's why you want to think about building a network is building an army. So we talked about introversion and extroversion. I can skip through this, but this is just really to give you a glance of how you would work with each other, right? So for my introverts, you can, just things to pay attention to when you're working with extroverts. Extroverts, you just really need to make sure that when you send an email communication and they take a day or two to come back, do not press them because they're thinking thoroughly of what you do. Thinking thoroughly about what they're saying back. Who in here is a self-proclaimed introvert, if you don't mind me asking? Introversion.
I think that one.
Yeah, it depends, right?
Love-hate relationship.
Same.
Sorry,
We're so
Do you realize how like I love introvert stories are kind of like the worst thing. But let me tell you about, and the reason why I do that is because introverts are better networkers than extroverts, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, you heard that? Yep. So introverts are better networkers. You're better than me because when you have a conversation with somebody, you are one-on-one and you have the most focus. You're very intentional about the things you talk about. You're very intentional about the questions you ask. You're very intentional about the follow-up, and you don't have any of the fluff involved because it doesn't fit your personality type. So when you think about the kind of relationships that you're building very strategic, thoughtful, and proactive ones because you know specifically how they can help you, how you can help them. Otherwise, you'll have no interest in it naturally. So when you think of extroverts scooting around and being loud and obnoxious, just remember their introverted counterpart, which they obviously will probably have, or their introverted friend is usually the one that you want to talk to have a serious conversation with. But there are ways, as an extrovert, that you can pull back. It took me a long time in the very beginning to really understand how to active listen. Okay, I had 2 digital talk shows when I was in Philadelphia. And I interviewed commercials that networked. And so the whole point of the show was called Connect Success. I was privileged of interviewing these people and I'm asking questions and the whole night. After the first episode, the first season, the first episode, I looked back and I was like, I'm never gonna watch myself again. I talked too much because either I was nervous or I was excited or I tried to relate with another story in some form or fashion. That was the best masterclass I ever got because it wasn't about me. And I knew that going in, but now I could visually see how I subconsciously made it more about how I could provide them value rather than what they were providing to the audience. So I stopped watching, and then for 2.5 years, I interviewed 6 people a week, and I got a chance to learn how to act and listen because the show was about them and how they wanted to come back and their experience. So when you think about the things that you can, the things that your shortcomings essentially, think about how you can do some repetition, something softly and quietly, if you need to. For my extroverted or introverted wonderful clients, one of the exercises I have them do if they're trying to figure out their pitch, hey, come on in. Oh, no. So one of the exercises that I give them is that I will ask them to say, hey, find a speed network in the back. Like, oh my God. I said, I literally just want you just to go. I know it's a Band-Aid that you're ripping off. I know you're going to be exhausted after it. But if you're worried about what you want to say in your pitch, here's the only thing I want you to do. You're going to be in a room with like 25 people. All I want you to do is say your pitch that you like, and then watch their reaction. If their reaction is or like, oh, interesting, capture it, change it, enhance that part of it, go to the next person. So by the time you've adjusted it throughout the entirety of the 25 people, you've got your pitch. You don't have to network while you're there. You're just literally using it as an exercise. So sometimes certain instances will allow you to get, get further based off of things that make you uncomfortable. Okay, so who are you networking with? These are the 3 pieces of kinds of people you want to network with. Strategic partners. You all know who strategic partners are, right? People who will share their clients with you. So for example, a real estate agent and a divorce lawyer are fantastic strategic partners. Why do you think so? Why do you think?
Divorcees looking for new houses.
Oh,
Looking to sell.
absolutely. They're either upsizing or downgrading depending on the agreement, right? So the goal is that they are coming into an environment where they need you and they need this person as well. Look at the life cycle of your clients. Who else would they have to go to with the problem that they're coming to you with? Not a vendor, not somebody that's in the same industry, but somebody similar, right? So those are your strategic partners. Those are your A and your B team. Subject matter experts, people who are better at the thing you want to get better at. because they have a very open, wide, and also very niche, sometimes very niche network. And when they're presenting, like myself, or when you've got a bunch of speakers, they obviously have influence in some form or fashion. They may have an answer to your question or to the bidder that you're looking to meet. So having and talking to SMEs is a great way of being able to expand your network, your current network. When's the last time you called your current network? People you've already built relationships with. Yeah,
Actually, something we've done is like one of my like marketing issues at our company. So it's funny you bring that up, is that I started having us go down a list of our current customers doing check-in calls.
Yeah.
So it's not a cold call, it's more
Sure.
there are customers, and they've honestly really appreciated that. And we've gotten a couple of deals out of it. I mean, little small things, but just checking and saying, how's everything going? You know, anything you need from us, we haven't spoken to you in a while, and people seem to appreciate it. They don't seem bugged by it.
And in addition, do handwritten thank you.
We do that too.
Oh, even
I
better.
do that for new customers, so like if someone buys a service from us,
3 to 6 months, just like, hey, just want to let you know you're one of our best people, we love you. Use the mice with a handwritten note. That's fantastic.
I had someone actually buy some more stuff because of that. They bought some service from us, and I think a couple months later, they remembered the thank you note, bought some more stuff. So
Fantastic. Because like nobody.
it doesn't cost anything to do. It's cheap.
No, but that is, you are providing, you know your audience, you are providing a service by providing them with a kindness, which that's all it is, guys. A service is a kindness. It's being a good person without expecting anything out of it. So things like that open the door for conversation. So next job, very, very good. Yes.
What about leaving a networking group?
Ooh, I love those things. Get them out.
So
Come out and
well, that's the tough part. So I have a group that I've been with since 2016.
Okay.
It's called Still Gentlemen.
Ooh.
It's here in South Lake.
Oh.
And it's a lot of the guys that have everything from wealth management companies to like my insurance agent, Bill Take State Farm.
Sure.
Scratch Kitchen, the #1 caterer in the US, the other caters for the Texas Rangers.
Oh, very cool.
You know, so it's a great group of guys, and I've been in that group for so long, and it's kind of an interesting concept, but basically you bring a bottle of bourbon.
Yeah.
It's a bourbon group, cigar bourbon group.
Sure.
It's catered food, best caterer in the country. And the challenge for me personally is I've been in that group so long, it's a one day at the end of the month that I have to set aside. It's really difficult because I could be out of town training or do something else. So I have to, so it's inconvenient, but it's also the fact that, you know, originally when I got the group, I had established relationships with clients, and now it's like, it's the same guys, same conversations, the same fraternal, you know, it's still fraternal, you know, that kind of thing, but you get to the point where it's like, you know, I don't have a lot of options for there, a lot of things I can spend my time in, especially outside of the work commitments and the family commitments. So, you know, when do you decide at what point it's time to move on from a group or a networking group and things like that, like even a BNI or a chamber or even like, for instance, the Dow Search Marketing Association I've been part of for years. I left and came back.
Yeah.
So,
That's a great question. Change your environment. So what I would do is before you leave, is pick the top 5 to 10 guys that you really relate to the most and separate yourself, from them and have one-on-one meetings with them first. Because when you have a one-on-one meeting with them, you're actually going to come in with a bunch of questions of like, how can I support you? Here's what I'm looking for. Love to know about your other things that you're working on, because I'm pretty sure those conversations aren't always being had in a group setting. But if you're having one-on-ones, you really get to know them. Because right now they know and they like you. The trust, I'm sure, is there, but I don't think in a way that you could really reach out. You could really do it. You could do it better when you're going on one-on-ones. Take the top 5 guys. And if you still feel that way, then it's time to leave. Otherwise, in the group setting, it's a little bit harder to really get to the nuts and bolts of how you want to have that relationship with them, because it's like the average of all the people in the room and the brokers involved. So
you have to take into consideration, this is professional
I
networking. So there is
understand.
an ultimate goal. It's not just a drink or
Agreed.
those types of things, but.
Professional networking can also lead into being settling for what's available, right? Meaning, so it gets stale. My presentations get stale sometimes. My relationships get stale sometimes. So before you leave, take a few people that you really want to know, like, and trust, and have one-on-ones and be like, hey man, I'm looking to chat with you more about this. There may be things they haven't been able to tell you in a group setting, they can tell you now. Start with that first, and then take your leave. Otherwise, leave.
Yeah.
But ask them, what other groups are you a part of? Because most of these groups, most of the networking groups will have a,
Chamber.
well,
Just-
yeah, well, the downstream section. But some of them will have they need to bring guests for their next meeting. BNI, hit or miss, depending on your.
Yeah, I tried those are tough.
I can't-
I just, the whole concept, the whole note passing, just.
It's very culty. Sorry.
Yes,
but-
oh, there you go, that's the problem with it. Yeah.
So, I completely agree with you. Sometimes going lone wolf is okay, and having more one-on-one Zoom meetings with people that you can reach out to on LinkedIn is usually the game changer. So before you leave this group of people, go ahead.
I failed with that. I did this Dallas Marketing Club, my Dallas office.
Oh, did you?
And the people that showed up was just these, it's like, not a side hustle type thing. It's like, bro, that's not even a good business idea. Like, it's just the worst ideas. Like, it's worse than going to a BNI and having nothing but prepaid legal people. Anyway, goodbye.
You know what you can also do? Is take the top 10 people that you know, like, and trust. Start your own private thing.
I did. DallasMarketingClub.com.
Right, but like you brought in people that were like, meh, right?
Yeah, no, they just.
I'm not
showed up.
saying, but
It's
that's
because
what I'm saying.
that was the, what is it, meetup.com, I think.
Don't do that.
That was
I'm
tough.
talking,
That was tough.
don't do that. What I'm saying is that you've got people who are your agency, the people that you know, you like, and you trust. Pick 10 that you can call up after this meeting and say, hey man, I want to get to dinner. I've got 10 people with us. I just want to talk to you guys about life, about what's going on, and start doing that. If business comes up, it comes up. But creating your own small little mastermind is way more powerful than scooting around to the chambers and hoping that you find something that you know. Take 10 of your best people and see what comes up. But I wouldn't put too much pressure on it. But now I think you're burning yourself out. You are achieving way more than what these BNIs and these other groups are.
Oh, yeah,
facilitating.
sure. I've
And
got
you've
direct
got
clients
the-
from it, yeah, computer CPR,
Sure.
people all around here.
Scoot a room, maybe it works, but now it's time that you create your own mastermind. Now, this mastermind could turn into a retreat. This mastermind could turn into like, hey, man, we're gonna all do golf. And then they become the friends that you
And
need.
you see folks around you that have these groups that do it. Amanda and her partner, CFO AMP, these girls have these retreats out in Mexico, and their folks all go. They're real estate, so they're obviously really personable too. So,
Sure.
and I watch those events, and I'm like, that's putting on some cool.
I wouldn't do that yet, the retreats, but that could be the end goal.
Oh, you
I
gotta
would
work
just start. And it's yours. You control the narrative because you are too far along for some of these people who don't know how to create a network. You've got your 10 people, start your own thing, keep it quiet. Don't publicize it, don't push it, phone call or email these guys. They get dinner and be like, hey, we're gonna do this every month. What do you think?
Keep it speakeasy.
Keep it simple. You got it. Cool. How to communicate effectively. How much time do I have? Because I can keep going. 10 minutes? Okay. 10 minutes? All right. How to communicate effectively, just to be very clear about how you're communicating with another person in front of a networking opportunity. Make your name memorable. Don't walk into the room and peacock it. It's too much. We don't like all that attention. Just making your name memorable means making an impact on somebody else in some form or fashion. Giving them a resource, providing some kind of perspective that can be different than what they're thinking. Ending the conversation with the future in mind. If you don't have a calendar appointment, after you meet somebody that you want to hang out with, after the conversation you had at a networking event, we all have phones with calendars. Why wait 24 to 72 hours to send that person an email? Put it on your calendar. And if they waffle, you know to pull it. So it reduces the amount of time. Work smarter, not harder here. Plan structured next up conversations, create agenda, so you know what you want to get through. I have 15-minute calls all the time, and I've had more than a handful of people reach out and say, I've got more value out of that 15 minutes I've gotten anywhere else. Because I structure it in a way that I can support them and help them, and I'm not getting paid for that. That's an introduction call. Let me get you 3 people that can help you. Build a diverse network. We all network with people that look like us. Diversify. Go to different groups, go to different locations, different cultures, different races, different religions. Just go. Be uncomfortable being the minority. Get into that space. Recognize storytelling opportunities. I'm an awful storyteller. I'm working on it, but I'm awful at it. But if you can tell a story about how you fix a problem, that's going to resonate with people and how they can help you, and how they can support you, but also how they can refer you. And then forget your 30-second pitch and track the value of networking activities. So tracking the value of networking activities comes with a bunch of different tools, and I'll show you how to use those in a moment. These, you will all get this afterwards, so you don't have to necessarily write this down, but these are DMDCs, deep, meaningful business conversation questions. These are questions you should ask when you're on your first meeting after you meet them. My two favorite are, when someone picks up the phone to call you, what problem are they having? That gives you an idea and a way for to understand what problem that they fix. So when it comes up in conversation with your clients or your friends, you get an opportunity to refer them. The next is how, let's go. What industry? Oh, what are you struggling with the most right now? The reason why you ask that is because now you're building networking equity. If they are struggling with, oh, man, my CPA sucks, or you know what, we're actually looking to hire, and you have that fix for them, that's outside of your industry, you're building networking equity, because now you're introducing people to your A and your B team. We'll talk about the A and B team. We're gonna go through this because we only got 10 minutes. There we go. This is the A and the B team. This is how you make it. The A team, the people that you know, you like, and you trust. So I want you to go on Google and look at the top industries that are labeled in LinkedIn. So they'll have like all the industries that you connect your companies to. Grab all those industry names, throw them in the column A, okay? Then you're gonna do one pass on them. When you see marketing, who do you think of? When you think aviation, who do you think of? When you think of sales, who do you think of, right? First initial person, that's your A team. It's already subconsciously been in your brain that allows you to correspond that industry to them. That's your A team. It could be 5 people, it could be 25, I don't care. It's just something. Then your B team are the people that you know in your life. You go to LinkedIn and fill in the other spots. When you smile, when you see their name, put it on a list. I don't care if they're best at what they do, but if Chad hands you a business card at an event and he's a little bit rude, there's no point in putting him on the list because you'll never subconsciously want to refer him. So that A and the B team ends up being the people that you then send a referral to when you do another meeting with somebody new. You're now building networking equity by keeping your trash can at bay. Your trash can will forget who to introduce them to, but if you put them into this Excel file, their contact information, their emails, their LinkedIn profiles, you can then, and also on the About section, it'll give you a list of keywords of what they specialize in. Throw it in there, Control F it, and now you have the person that you need to connect them to. Because that telecommunications company may do email marketing specifically for a specific niche, and you can forget. So make it easy for yourself to move forward. So planning your work, let's keep moving forward. So here's working your plan. 3 things to do on LinkedIn. We're talking about connection, collaboration, and celebration. When you're thinking about posting on LinkedIn, are you connecting with somebody? Are you collaborating in some form or fashion, whether it's sharing a post, whether it's doing a webinar, whether it's connecting with somebody that can help somebody else? That's the collaboration piece. The celebration is congratulate somebody on something cool they did. Kudos to them. It's kind of like a handwritten note or the checkup call. These are the things to share on LinkedIn. You guys will get a 72-page ebook from me after this with all this information. So just know you don't have to take pictures, but this is the good things that you can post on LinkedIn. Here's your E3 method. I only got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to breeze through this. Why is entertain on the end? That's so strange. What are we doing? Okay, so extract, educate, and entertain. So the E3 method, if you're having difficulty figuring out what to post on LinkedIn, the E3 method is this. You're going to extract a story, you're going to entertain them, and you're going to educate them and then entertain them. So let's say, for example, you're walking down the street, right? And you see a bird that reminds you of your grandmother that passed away. That bird reminds you of the fact that, okay, my grandmother was here, she was the matriarch of the family, I really miss her, I really love her, she always taught me this. I wonder how that translates into leadership. Oh, okay, well, being a woman in leadership, how does it? So do you see how you just kind of go through the whole thing? So you extract a story, you educate on that, and then you entertain it. Everybody knows how you use ChatGPT, right? Yeah. Throw it in the ChatGPT and ask it to create a story based off of those 3 concepts and wrap it around the industry that you're involved in. Sometimes I have an idea of a story, but I'm trying to put it all pieces together. Run it in there, you're good to go. Every day, extract, educate, and entertain. That's the post that you want to publish. Using AI, you'll also get this. These are all of the AI tools for networking that I love to use. So Crystal knows to look up that DISC assessment for the EQ. That thing actually gets plugged into your LinkedIn, and it tells you how to communicate with that person based on what they think their DISC profile is. It's brilliant. Compose.ai is the AI-powered email composition tool. It helps you create professional and engaging emails. Then you've got ChatGPT, obviously. Otter is my favorite, Gong, and phone sites. So Otter.ai is fantastic during meetings, okay? Reason why, you have a networking meeting, you put Otter.ai, which does the transcript. Anybody not know what Otter.ai is? Okay, So it's like, it captures the whole conversation and puts it into a transcript. It even summarizes it for you. You take that summary from your networking piece, right? You throw it in the chat and ask it to create a recap email. Now, when you send a thank you email to your networking person, it puts all of what you talked about in bullet form, so that way you remember what you spoke about if you have to recap it later on. That takes all 5 minutes, okay? That way, you're working smarter, not harder. So if someone says, hey, Ash, I was introduced to you 6 months ago. We talked about this. Oh, shit, okay. Let me go back. Oh, this is what we talked about. Refreshes your memory. That way you can keep up with what you spoke about, okay?
These AI tools cost money.
Some of them do, not all. Chat, depending on what you get. I like this. I bought the $20 a month because I use it so often. Compose might. Crystal knows, yes. Phone Sites does, and I believe they all do. But they also have free, what's it called? Free trial. Yes.
I believe there's a very limited free version of Firefly AI, which is very similar to Otter AI.
Yeah.
So like, I think if you need it for like a whole team, you'll have to pay for it, but I think if you're just using it for like an individual, you're using, or I think gives you a limited number of transcriptions a month for free.
Correct.
I don't remember how it worked. I just know there was a free version that we used before we paid for it.
It's the best. Yeah, Otter, the reason why I like it because it does capture, I have, especially when you're in a meeting or when you're in a conference or when you're trying to learn something and trying to extract information, ask the right questions, taking notes and doing that at the same time can absolutely confuse you or miss something. This allows you to be more engaged, more, focused on what the conversation that you're having. So that's why I love using it. So, that's it. Okay, so let's just go back one more time. So when we're talking about working your plan, these are the level of contacts that you want to create. Champions are the people, again, that you know, like, and trust. Promoters are the people that will promote you in environments. Supporters are people that will support you, so you can call them up and that you can ask them to do a favor. Associates are people that you know that are friendly to you. Acquaintances are people that are friends of associates. And then you got the happy accents, the people that you meet in your community, right? These are just the level of contact you want to create. The know, the like, and the trust with the top two. Okay, champions and promoters, because they will advocate for you when you're not in the room. So we talk about the A and the B team. Every interaction you have and every networking opportunity you have, put this in the A and the B team on this list. Pop it open. At the very end of that networking conversation, you say, "How can I support you? Who's a good introduction for you?" Not who's a good salesperson or who's a good prospect for you. Who's a good introduction for you? So, when you go to all these events, and the next time you have a conversation, you ask them, "Hey, I'm looking to get into another group. Is there any group that you think I should join?" Because that way, it's more, helpful for you in that space. There is something called, I think you guys have heard the $80 method from Gary Vee. I think I skipped it. What am I talking about? Okay, $80 method is when you go, and this is how you generate the whole process. Hold on, using AI. There we go. I'm not going to play this, but this is the $80 method. So the $80 method is when you go on LinkedIn. This is how I got all of my meetings in 2019 and 2022. This post, you follow the top 10 hashtags that are relevant to your industry. You go to post with the most engagement on that hashtag. You then comment on those posts. You're supposed to put your 2 cents on those posts about 20 times a day. Okay, 20 times. It's typically 100, but we're gonna do 20 times to get you guys going. You do that on a ton of posts every single day. Now you're engaging with like-minded individuals, and people will be wanting to connect with you in some form or fashion, right? It's abundance, but it's also keeping your name on the feed. When they reach out to you, and they leave no note, because nobody leaves a note, you send them this message. Hey, thank you so much for reaching out to connect. Through my business, I do this. Hopefully, I can provide an introduction or two. I'd love to jump on a 15-minute intro call. I like to get to know people in my network. This is not a sales call. I use Calendly to schedule my networking calls. Please use this link to do so. If they do not schedule a call with you, move it to their friend list. There's no reason. 15 minutes, it can have many conversations with as many people as possible, but in order to niche it down and not get spammed, doing the $80 method allows you to attract the right kinds of people. That's how I built my entire business. That was fun, right? So it's tedious, but you're going to be able to do it. You can also help yourself to do it. 10 minutes in the morning while you're waking up, or you're pooping, whatever you gotta do. Just scoot around and start adding comments to very specific posts, and you'll get more traction on your feed. Yeah, question? Is that what you do? Yeah. There's also a tool. Right. And you're supposed to do it 100 times because it's $80, right? It's like 2 cents. do something. Cool. All right, so this is how to hold an effective first meeting. You will also get this. These are ways. So once you have, after the first meeting or after the first initial networking call, we have the DNVCs. Here are some other questions that you can ask to really get to know them. It's also good for sales as well. So how to hold an effective first meeting? What do you want to be remembered for? How do you get your start? How would you describe your communication style and preference? How do you support other people? The whole nine. The reason why this is here because it goes deeper into it. So hold an effective. So you're not being like, oh, what's your favorite color? You know, nobody wants that. So tools and resources, these are the tools that I use every day. So phone sites is, you'll see when you scan the QR code, but it's a digital business card and it also follows up with email. I love it. I'd be happy to give you a code for it. I don't get paid on this. I just love it so much. So just know that this is something I use every day. I don't use cards because what are they going to do with it? Someone's like, oh, you have a card, like, what are you going to do with it? Put a meeting on a calendar. Start calling people out. It's way more fun. And I use Calendly because obviously the follow-ups for calendar appointments. Has anybody not used Calendly or haven't used it before? You haven't used it before? But do you know what it is? Okay, so Calendly is they click on a link and then it goes to your calendar to schedule. So it finds all the available dates. So that way there's no back and forth. So it allows that person to pick what they want. It also puts their information into your CRM, and it's a really effective way to get them to schedule a meeting. Super. So that way you get the email confirmation with the meeting, they get the email confirmation with the meeting, and you don't have 17 back and forth in the email. Yes.
If there was an alternative to Calendly that may not cost you money, depending on your situation, if you pay for Microsoft Teams or have that 365 or whatever, there's actually a Calendly equivalent that comes with Microsoft Teams. So you can use that instead if you don't want an extra subscription.
Totally, yeah. There's lots of different tools out there. I think that, yes, the automation on Calendly has gotten exponentially better, so it's fun if you want to, but otherwise there's tools to use. The other thing is, this is what, good morning, this is what Crystal Knows is like. So Crystal Knows on the right-hand side here, you can see it, is it pops open. Oh, look, Mia's a blonde. It popped open into what my personality profile is. I'm no longer an ID, or I'm a DI, I'm a dominant influence, right? And it's like, I need to, call Ashley so I can do what? And it gives you advice on how to speak to me. So if you've got a very dominant personality, or if you're trying to talk to somebody who's very dominant, but you're very introverted or have an S or a C, it's going to be harder for you to get your full thoughts across if you've got a lot of fluff in there, if you explain too much. This puts it into perspective for you. To do you one better, if you know what your clients are, like if you know, so if, let's say you have a prospecting meeting, you jump on a call with somebody, and you recognize by doing this that they are an IS, right? Influencer, steadiness, whatever that may be. And you're really trying to close this deal. You take your proposal that you typically write with all your service offerings, throw it into chat, ask it to be read by somebody with a high I, low S, and now it will adjust the proposal for them and how they read and how they digest information. I've gotten multiple opportunities because I just changed the way that I presented based off of their EQ. So that way, and even when you've got clients, if anybody here is a consultant, you can have, when you have your meetings, grab Otter.ai, throw it in a chat to summarize, and then ask it so to be read by somebody who's in business. Make sense?
What program is that?
This is called, what's it called? Crystal Knows. Yes.
Does it only work for LinkedIn or does it accumulate information? For
You know, there's a function inside of your email too.
Oh.
So LinkedIn is the main source, and then I think they've expanded, but this also gets jumped into your email. You guys will all get these links, by the way, by the end of this.
What do you think of this QR code cards, business cards?
I'll show you. Beep, 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 beep. All concluding because we're running behind, but here's the card. You'll see it come up. So when you scan this business card also has a, it'll pop up this QR code on your phone, and the QR code is called phone, the digital business card is called phone sites. Yeah, phone sites. And you'll also get an email with that as well, just because so many people ask me about it. Yeah. You'll see a button that says exchange info. You're going to click on that. My contact information now gets saved into your phone. Just make sure you click save. It will then ask you to put your information in, and then you'll get an email with all the information we talked about today. I know I'm running behind. Does anybody have any questions? I'll be here for a little bit before we end. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We actually have a small